Hello, and welcome to my predictions video for Impact Wrestling's Rebellion 2023. I've not watched any Impact since the last show I did this for. So let's see how I do, So I'm going to attempt to predict all 9 matches, including the 2 pre-show matches, and then we'll see how I do, and I'll do a review of the show. I'll watch the show, I'll talk about how I found the show, and I'll also talk about how my predictions went. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the review, and let's just jump right into it. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to source the matches from the Wikipedia article, and in terms of the order, I'm going to do the 2 pre-show matches first, then I'm going to run from the bottom to the top, because that seems to be the top match after the pre-show matches seems to be a good candidate for the main event, and if it's not that one, it's probably the second one. So yeah, we're gonna work bottom to top, but the matches could be in any order. I don't believe it's been announced ahead of time. Anyway, without further ado, first on the pre-show, Heath and Rhino versus Champagne Singh and Shera. I don't know. I don't know. Let me think about this. Bullet Club are the current tag team champions. They're defending against the Motor City Machine Guns. Ooh, it's a tough one. I'm gonna go with Heath and Rhino to pick up the win in the pre-show match. I think maybe, and we'll get to this, but I think maybe Bullet Club might retain. So having a face tag team pick up a win might set up the next challengers. Who knows? I don't really have a lot of reasoning behind who I think is going to win this pre-show tag match, so I'm just that's my reasoning. Also on the pre-show, the Impact Knockouts World Tag Team Championship, the Coven, which is Kylan King. I don't know who that is, if I'm being perfectly honest. Apologies. And Taylor Wilde defending against the Death Dolls, which is Jessica, formerly known as Havoc, and Rosemary of not Sanity. I was going to say Sanity then. No, of Decay. This is a tough one. The current champions are the Coven. Decay have been a thing for a long time, well established. Jessica Havoc and Rosemary are really established names. But obviously the other two are already the champions, so it's not like they're just nobodies. I'm going to go with a... Does the title change ever happen on the pre-show? I'm gonna go with it. Let's go with the Death Dolls to win. Let's go for it. Let's go for it with these predictions. I mean, we're already crowning at least 2 new champions on this show, so why not another championship to find itself in new hands? So yeah, Death Dolls to win. Now, onto the main card. I'm going to start at the bottom of the wiki article, which is the Last Rites match, which I believe is just a casket match, between PCO and Eddie Edwards, who has been reunited with Alicia Edwards. Surely, like, as great as PCO has been in the last several years since his re-emergence and sort of repackaging as PCO way back in Ring of Honor, as great as he's been, surely you go with Eddie Edwards here. Like, PCO can be put in a coffin and buried and what have you, and just like Terminator up, can't he? And won't really lose anything from that, weirdly. And Eddie Edwards is just like, you know, former 2-time world champion Eddie Edwards. Like, do you know what I mean? I just feel like we have to go with... I think we have to go with Edwards here. I'm going to go with Edwards. I don't feel like I can justify it any further. Also, they've been bigging up PCO as this like unstoppable monster. From what I've seen, from what little I've seen. So you build someone up as an unstoppable monster for someone to stop them, don't you? And Eddie Edwards would be a really good candidate for that. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Eddie Edwards. Next, we have a 6-man tag team match. Dirty Dango, Joe Hendry, and Santino Marella, going by Santino Marella. Clearly, WWE don't want the rights to that anymore. Against The Design, which is the formerly Violent by Design, isn't it? Which is Cody Deaner. Although now he's just Dina, apparently. Angels, who I don't know who that is. The Wikipedia link leads just to Impact Wrestling. That's interesting. Callahan and or Con, which is Connor from The Ascension. Okay, so that's Sammy Callahan. Why have they all just dropped their names? I guess it's part of the design stable to have one name, I guess. But Jessica Havoc's also dropped one of her names, and I noticed Shera was Mahabali, is that right? Shera? And now he's just Shera. So the Impact seems to be doing the thing. They got Heath as well, but obviously that's because he can't be Heath Slater. But doing the thing with the single names at the moment that WWE was so criticised for. Interesting. Anyway, so it seems like any 3 or maybe even 4 of the design can participate in this match. And I get that the baby faces, the Dirty Dango team, have like the great comedy chops in common, but the other side is an actual team, the design, isn't it? So I'm gonna go with them to pick up the win. The design are gonna pick up the win here. I've got nothing else to say about that one. I've not seen any of the build. I'm sure it's been fantastic because Fandango, Dirty Dango, Joe Hendry, and Santino, all great at the comedy stuff. So I'm sure it's been a lot of fun. Them doing a bit of comedy, then the design probably getting upset at them for trying to be funny at their expense, and then the funny guys having to bring out a bit more of their serious side to be able to compete with the design. I'm sure it's been lovely. Anywho, all right, we have an Ultimate X match for the Impact World Tag Team Championships. I didn't notice that it was an Ultimate X match when I was thinking about the Heath and Rhino match earlier. Bullet Club, which is Ace Austin and Chris Bay, defending the World Tag Team Championships against the Motor City Machine Guns, which, in case you're not sure, is Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin. Yeah, I said during the pre-show prediction that I think Bullet Club probably retain here. To be honest, it being an Ultimate X match doesn't change my mind about that at all. They're both very young, very athletic guys who can do some crazy stuff, taking nothing away from Shelley and Sabin's athleticism as well. I'm sure it's going to be really good fun, actually. But I do feel like there's a lot of new championships being crowned, especially if my prediction for the pre-show comes true. So we need some titles to stay where they are, right? And on top of that, again, I'm sure it benefits Impact more to have the younger team. Like, they can cheat, they can be naughty and pick up the win, but they still need to pick up the win, in my opinion. So there we go. I know they're both pretty established, but it's still more beneficial, isn't it? In my opinion. Next, the 3-way elimination match for the Impact X Division Championship. Trey Miguel, Jonathan Gresham, and Speedball Mike Bailey. That's going to be wild. It's an elimination match as well, I notice. So there's potential for some shenanigans there. But as I just discussed, the fact that we're getting 2 new champions for sure, and I've predicted another title to change hands on the pre-show, I'm going to say that I pick Trey Miguel here just on the basis of having too much changed in one night. I know that's perfectly possible. It's not sound reasoning, because if I, maybe this is me and short-sightedness, but if I were running a wrestling promotion, I would be focusing, when I was building to the X Division match, I wouldn't be trying to think about what I'm doing with the tag titles and the world title and stuff like that. And certainly, if I'd already planned for Speedball Mike Bailey, for example, to pick up the win here, I wouldn't, just because 2 of my titles got vacated, I wouldn't be changing the plans there to spite that, or, to make it make more sense. That said, I'm not a wrestling promoter or a booker, and it does seem to be a general pattern that you don't get that many title changes on any given show. So the fact that I'm going for 3 out of 5 already feels too much. Well, I mean, 2 of them are guaranteed, but I'm going for another 1, making 3 new champions out of 5 title matches on the show. So, yeah, that's enough. Trey Miguel to retain. Let me know why I'm wrong in the comments, by the way, if it's very obvious who's winning these matches. Like I say, I've not been watching Impact. I really should. And I'm hoping, now that I've started my new job and there's a lot of waking nights in my future, I'm hoping I'll get the chance to watch a bit more Impact, because I know they've got a good product, Anyway, up next, we've got a 10-wrestler hardcore war between Team Dreamer, which consists of Tommy Dreamer, Bhupinder Gujar? I literally have no idea who that is, and his Wikipedia article, when you hover over it, just says, is an Indian professional wrestler signed to Impact. Frankie Kazarian, I know him. Killer Kelly. Okay, so it's a mixed gender hardcore war. And, Yuya Uemura, I know him from New Japan. Is he still a young lion, or is he advanced from that now? I'm not sure, but he's on Team Dreamer, fun. Against Team Bully, which is Bully Ray, Brian Myers, formerly Kurt Hawkins, Kenny King, Masha Slamovich, who I have heard of despite butchering the name, and Moose. Okay, so you've got Gujar, who I don't really know, and Uemura, who's kind of like a young lion in New Japan, or recently promoted, if not a young lion. I feel like Team Dreamer has more candidates to lose this match. And Team Bully just looks a little more stacked. Moose, Kenny King, Brian Myers, and Bully Ray, and I believe Masha Slamovich. I know very little about her, but I've heard the name. I think her and Killer Kelly, in terms of stature, kind of cancel each other out, so you can just compare the men. And the men are weighed up on the Bully Ray team, aren't they? So yeah, I'm going to go with Team Bully to win that. There, that's my prediction. Next, the vacant Impact Knockouts World Championship match. Jordynne Grace versus Deonna Purrazzo. And when I was setting up to record this and opening the Wikipedia article, I looked at that and went, oh, I have no idea. Like, that was the match that caught my eye. Is just, I have absolutely no clue. We know we're getting a new Impact Knockouts champion, and we know Deonna Purrazzo is a former Knockouts champion 2 times, in fact, and I'm pretty sure one of those reigns was pretty damn long, right? She's a pretty big deal in Impact history. Jordynne Grace, similarly, a big deal, 2-time Knockouts champion and digital media champion, former, of course, on both counts. So this is, Jordynne Grace has undergone like a mad transformation, hasn't she? She's like super like ripped and muscly. Like, she was always strong, you know, like you could always tell she was built for strength, but now she's gone like the almost a bodybuilding route, so would look very impressive as a champion. But Deonna Purrazzo, I mean, both are, this is so hard. I was about to say, but Deonna Purrazzo can just put on a great match with anyone. So can Jordynne Grace. They've both got the pedigree with an Impact, you know, like the former championship reigns and stuff. Oh, it's such a tough one. Have I got a coin I can toss? I can't see one. Can't see a coin in my vicinity. That's a shame, because I would legit decide it on a coin toss at this point, because I have no earthly idea who's going to win this. I'm going to go with Deonna Purrazzo. Oh, I didn't like how I felt saying that, though. I felt so much doubt when I said that, but I think I feel the same saying Jordynne Grace, to be honest. Should I change my mind? Should I go with Jordynne Grace? Ooh, I felt a bit more confident about that, actually. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to go with Jordynne Grace. Final answer. Jordynne Grace is going to win. Probably with Purrazzo now, but whatever. I have to make a decision on who I think is going to win, and I'm going to go with Jordynne Grace. I tell you what I am going to go with. I think that's going to be a banger. I think it's going to be a great match. Going to be a lot of fun. Anyway, on to the final match of the predictions video. Don't know if it's going to go on last. Could easily be the women's match that goes on last. Could be the last rights match, for God's sake. Like, I imagine one of the world titles goes on last, but you know, stranger things have happened. Depending on how much destruction they're planning on doing to the arena and the ring and everything, the hardcore war could go on last. Like, who knows? Anyway, the main event, potentially. Kushida versus Steve Macklin, who used to be Steve Cutler in WWE, was just like a forgotten son. And I'm sure most people have forgotten about Steve Cutler. Whether you watch Impact or not, because he's completely reinvented himself as like, you know, he's in the world title match now. I think he could win this. The thing is with Kushida's a New Japan guy. Like, he could be signed to make X number of appearances and have a world title run in Impact, but I'm going to go with Steve Macklin here, as crazy as that sounds. Oh, I do love Kushida, though, and I do think he'd make a great Impact World Champion. He could just have a run of dream matches, couldn't he, where he, you know, until we're ready for normal service to resume. But I don't know. I'm going to put my eggs in the basket of Steve Macklin here. I don't feel confident in it at all, but I'm going to go with it. So, yeah, I'm going to run down my predictions now, most of which I'm not confident at all in. But feel free to let me know in the comments what you think I'm right and wrong about and why. So on the pre-show, Heath and Rhino to win and the Death Dolls to pick up the Knockouts World Tag Team Championships. Now, onto the main show. I've got Eddie Edwards beating PCO. I've got the Design beating the babyfaces. Got Bullet Club retaining the Impact World Tag Team Championships against the Motor City Machine Guns. Got Trey Miguel retaining the X Division Championship. I've got Team Bully winning the Hardcore War. And I've got Jordan Grace, I think I settled on, yep, winning the Knockouts World Championship. And Steve Macklin winning the Men's World Championship. The vacant Men's World Championship. Don't think I mentioned that. So, yeah, let me know what you agree with and disagree with in the comments. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video, subscribe if you're new here, and don't miss the review coming out, you know, after the show's happened. Can't review a show that hasn't happened, can I? Anyway, all I have left to say is thank you very much for watching. As always, I've been Ebeza, you've been amazing, and I'll see you next time.